Greetings and welcome to Nathan Nile Official. If you've never seen my face in a video before, my name is Nathan Nile. This is my personal channel where I upload vlogs, reviews, and sketches, whatever happens to catch my fancy at the time. Today's video is a Naked Truth video in response to Trisha Hershberger's video series, which you'll probably hear from her anyways, So, today she decided to do, well, not today, but recently, her most recent Naked Truth video is about embarrassing stories. And she asked a couple different questions. First thing I'm going to address is ignore everything in the background. I know there's a lot going on back there. But what makes a story embarrassing? Well, a lot of it just depends on the context of the story, because a lot of the embarrassing stories I'm going to tell now are things that at the moment it felt so traumatizing, but now years later I can look back on it and laugh. There are a lot of other stories where people have told me, like, dude, you should be so embarrassed with, like, show up to school with clothes that aren't in style. Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. And I'm just like, I literally don't care. I don't know why. I've just never given a fuck about how I looked. I guess I'm just lucky that way. I with clothes, I just pick something off the floor. If it doesn't smell bad, I put it on. As long as it's comfortable. Like, that's all. That's literally how I choose my outfits. So things that other people would, there are a lot of things that other people would be embarrassed by that I'm not embarrassed by. And then there are other things where there's huge misunderstandings. Like, I went to a pretty shitty school. And in middle school, there was this one moment in 6th grade where I started crying in the middle of class, just wailing uncontrollably, and other people were laughing at me. The story spread around the school, but for me, that was a truly mortifying experience because, I grew up in an abusive household, and then in 6th grade, halfway through the year, I moved to a new school, which the culture was just so completely different than what I'm used to. So now I'm at a place in my life where I'm used to getting beat up at home, but now I'm getting beat up at school every day. Everyone's making fun of me, and I have no place that I feel safe. And I feeling like no one on the planet gives a damn about me. And so I just started crying. I just couldn't hold it back anymore. And everyone else is they're laughing, thinking, oh, like, God, what is this guy? But for me, that's not embarrassing. I had a horrifying life back then. It was really hard. It was really difficult. And that's something that I'll never really laugh at. But that being said, I just wanted to get that out of the way early, and then let's end it on a happy note with some of the good stories, some of the fun, embarrassing things, because there are a lot of things where I've accidentally said something just because I misunderstood the question or something, misunderstood the reference. I was born old. I've never been popular, and there have been many times in my life where I'm basically the dad of my friend group. I'm trying to fit in, but it's obvious I have no idea what's going on. I'm always 10 years behind on the latest trends. So that I'm not going to tell any of those stories because those could go on forever. So I'm going to go basically just each section of my life, some of the most embarrassing memories I have. Like elementary school, one that pops out clearly is I was at daycare and everyone was out playing and I just didn't feel like it today. So I'm posted up on this fence. It was one of those chain link ones, and they blow the whistles. Everyone's supposed to go inside. I'm thinking I'm just gonna walk up, go in, but apparently the fence got caught on my pants. So when I stand up and try to walk away, there's just this loud rip, and it might not have been that loud, but to me it sounded like a gunshot. And then I had a breeze. Oh, my asshole was exposed to the entire daycare. So I sat and waited in the office for my mom to come and just pick me up. She was going to just bring me a new pair of pants and leave, but I was like, no, I'm not going back out there. The entire daycare just saw my butt crack. Okay, it caught my butt, it caught my pants and my underwear and just ripped both of them right off. Just big hole. And that was one that just... Actually, another time in elementary school, the first time I ever went to a haunted house when I was 6 years old, I fainted. Like, the first time, so I've never been good with the dark. I'm still not that comfortable with it. And so, but especially when I was young, like first time I went into the haunted house, we turned the first corner, someone jumps out, like, ah! And I fainted. I fainted and my mom had to carry me out. I was in there for about 2 seconds. At the time, it was the most embarrassing thing ever. Because, like, all my friends, they all just went through it like, it's nothing. Like, this. But me, I fainted 2 seconds in. So that one, oh, thankfully we were young, and people back then, a lot of people that age have a short memory. And I later that night, I walked up the courage to go to the haunted house, and I was holding my mom's hand the entire time, but I finally made it through. And then there's, of course, middle school. Most of the traumatic memories I have of those years are painful ones. The only funny ones I can think of now are just ones that I realize it's not too big a deal. A lot of other people dealt with this. It's just, the boners. It's a thing that just happens. So I'm sure everyone has their own boner stories about middle school. Me, I had math class. I don't know why. It was just like regularly scheduled thing, to the point that other people were actively like looking at me every day waiting for it to happen. Just every single day in math class. Okay, 3 to the power of x, boing. I mean, good news is it happened often enough that eventually I'm like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. Like, we all know what's happening. Like, I know what's happening, they know what's happening. It's just a thing now. It was a lot harder to get over one that happened in gym class, because sometimes they do this, sometimes they don't, where they separate the boys and the girls. And in this case, the boys were separated, so it was 7th grade by now, and I was in gym class with a bunch of guys playing basketball, running around, getting sweaty, and suddenly it just pops up. And obviously, when you're a boy in middle school, surrounded by other boys, and you get a boner, there's a lot of talking that ends up making its way around the entire school. And like I said, I can look back at it now and I'm like, it's not a big deal. It's a thing that happens to everyone. Hopefully it doesn't happen to you in gym class, because that's literally the worst time to get a boner, but it's gonna happen to you if it hasn't already. I feel like when you talk about embarrassing middle school story, every boy on earth should have an embarrassing boner story. And I've got other ones throughout my life, but a lot of it also has to do with, when you're younger, it's a lot easier to get embarrassed, because I know there are things I've done in my adult life that if I had done it as a kid would have been like mortifying, like, oh my god, I can't believe anyone saw this. Like eating out of the trash. I have been homeless, and even now that I'm not, there are still times when I'll see someone just throw like I'm done with this cookie, I'm tossing it, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Give me that thing. And they're like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? How you just gonna throw away perfectly good food? Do you know how many starving children there are on this planet? How dare you waste food? And also things like, there was actually one time I shit my pants at work. I was dealing with an infection, and so I was just in the middle of a shift, just green poop oozed out of my butt and just filled up my underwear. It stayed there for a while. And then at some point in time, I found time to take a 5-minute break, run to the restroom, take off my underwear, throw it away, wipe my butt, put my pants back on, and just went right back to work. Because that's what you do when you're making $8 an hour. You don't have time to be embarrassed. You got money to make, you got bills to pay. If that had happened in middle school, I would have never shown my face again. But at work, there have been, we've actually joked at work, like legitimately coming to work wearing diapers, especially on those busy days. I've never done it, and I don't know anyone who's ever done it, but 100%, if someone actually did show up to work in a diaper, like that, I wouldn't think that was embarrassing. I'd be like, dude, respect. Like, I respect your decision. I wish I was brave enough to do that. Like, you my homie, dog, for real. Like, even today, there are times when, like, a diaper would be a very convenient thing to have. Like, we just passed Valentine's Day. It was hell on wheels in a bucket. On ice. I just spilled some of my drink down my chest. That would normally be embarrassing. Not right now. I just don't care anymore. I'm a mess. That's just how it is. But there are also times when I feel like when there are times when other people say the wrong thing, and other people have a better like when it comes to song lyrics. Like, I don't do this as much anymore, but I used to get so pissed off anytime someone would sing the wrong lyric. Like, but now it's one of those things where you have to find humor in it. You know, it's just a thing that happens. No one's perfect. You know, some people don't pay as much attention as they should. Like, there was this one guy I knew at work that we would sing all the time. I was just our thing. We'd have these like music battles, like Pitch Perfect style stuff, and he would quite often get things wrong, and it was like like one time we were singing the Rocky theme, and he was like, "It's the eye of the tiger, rising up to the challenge of a rhino." I'm like, whoa. First of all, there's one line that you just skipped completely. Second of all, did you just say rhino? Did you just say rising up to the challenge of a rhino? That's what the word is, isn't it? No, it's of a rival. Oh, you gotta understand where I was coming from, because you see, it's like tiger, like rhino, it makes sense. Have you spent the last 20 years singing Rising Up to the Challenge of a Rhino and no one's corrected you? Oh my god. So yeah, I mean, sometimes in life you just gotta find the joy in things. The stupid things that make every day worth living. Honestly. So yeah, embarrassing high school stories, I'd rather not talk about those. There's just a lot of... I mean, in high school, it got to the point where I was like... I was known as the weirdo, and so I would do things on purpose just to get attention, and like... Hey, because like, if I'm trying to be weird, then everyone's gonna think, that's just his thing, as opposed to, he's legitimately crazy? Should we be afraid of him? So... there is one time I remember in high school, though, what could have been a potentially embarrassing situation that ended up turning into a huge win. My hair, you see how it looks right now? You've probably never seen me on camera with an afro. I've had afros in my life, but it's generally something I avoid. If you've never had an afro, let me tell you, it takes a lot of work. We're talking daily maintenance, alright? It's not just like, you wake up one morning, brush it for a few minutes, and then that's the end of it. No. Like, we're talking like day after day after day, you have to be taking care of it, and it's just way more effort than I want. But in high school, I got to a point where I was like, let me try, let me start experimenting with some different things. So a few different times I've put up the afro. And so I was walking to school one day, I had my afro all puffed out, feeling all nice and proud. And then, a bird pooped in my head. Like, I'm walking to school and a bird poops in my head. So I just got this big glop of white poop all up in my fro. I was really pissed off. And I'm just like, dear God. Like, hopefully I can get to school before anyone notices and just get it cleaned out. You know, sneak into the restroom with no one noticing. But I just got a big thing of poop on top of my hair. Which, part one, I managed to accomplish that. Unfortunately, part two was getting the poop out of my hair. Which required the use of water. In my hair, when it gets wet, it just goes... It just, like, crinkles up. So, like this whole side of my afro just disappeared. And I'm like, well, the least I can do is, like, even it out. And so good news is, I reworked it, and I was able to go walk around school that day looking like Vegeta. And I got a lot of notice for that. And a lot of people wanting to touch my hair, including some pretty ladies. So that was a very good positive for me. A potentially devastating situation that left me both saddened and pissed because it takes a lot of effort to put the fro up. But, once again, the end result, overall net positive. So yeah, I just wanted to throw some of my 2 cents in here. Like, embarrassing moments are one of those things that we all go through in life, obviously. And everyone has different viewpoint of what's embarrassing. And, like, context has a lot to do with it. Your own personal sense of humor has a lot to do with it. But the biggest thing is just time. Because most of my embarrassing moments happened when I was young, and I sincerely cared what other people thought about me. And I'm reaching that age now where I'm like, I legitimately just don't give a fuck what any of you think about me. I'm just trying to live my own life now. I mean, to some degree, I care what people think about me, just not enough to make any effort for their sake. Like, do I want girls to like me? Yeah, sure. Doesn't everybody? But not enough to actually, like, go out of my way to put on the nicest clothes and buy the nicest shoes and shit. Like, that's too much effort. I don't want to spend the time shopping. I don't want to spend the money. Like, I'm going to do me. I'm going to live my life. So, yeah. That's my video. Thank you for watching. This has been Nathan Isle Official. Until the next time you see my face in the video, have a good week, month, year, however long it takes before you see me again.